my bug out bag. I decided that I'll finally let everyone see what's in my bug out bag. I'm going to empty all the contents, um, and let you guys see what I have in my bag. And mind you, some of the things I have in my bag is just stuff that I prefer. This is not necessarily things that everyone should have in their bug out bag. Some things I'll point out that you generally should have, but I'll make that distinction between things that you generally should have in your bug out bag and things that I have in my bug out bag. And for people who want more information on in creating a bug out bag, finding a good bug out bag, and all that sort of stuff, I would recommend David Canterbury's YouTube channel. David Canterbury created the Pathfinder School, which is a school for teaching people survivalism skills, prepping, backpacking, um, and some self-defense things, aspects of it as well. So I would recommend David Canterbury's YouTube channel, which he also has a website. There's other folks like him online, on YouTube. They give out really good information as well, like the bearded Green Beret. I followed some of his content as well, guys. Okay, but again, this is the bug out bag, and I want to clear up a lot of things with this first, just starting with the bag itself, because I know I'm already going to get questions just on the bag itself. Okay, so I'm gonna wait until we have some more people drop into the uh, into the live stream. But yeah, so guys, this is this is gonna be the bug out bag that I'm gonna show you. Okay. All right. So I want people can feel free to ask me questions, but I'm going to empty all the contents of this right now. People told me that I should do this as a live stream instead of as a pre-recorded video. So I'm going to do this as a live stream, and then I'll upload it later so that people can watch it and see, what I did with this live stream. Okay, so first of all, let's get into it. So this is the bug out bag. As you can see, it's a standard backpack. Now, there are some preppers and survivalists that love these big bags with all the Molly, sh- you know, all the Molly strips on it, the ACU camouflage and all that. I'm not doing that. The whole point of a bug out bag should be that you should be able to blend into like your surroundings. You're not on patrol in the military, in the Marines or Army, or in special forces. You don't need something that's gonna look like you're in tactical gear. This is something that's supposed to be more subtle, so a good backpack will do the trick, but not any sort of backpack, because most backpacks will probably fall apart if you try to hump hump in them, or rock in them, whatever you want to call it. So I don't want anything that stands out. So if I'm bugging out of somewhere, and especially coming from an urban or suburban environment, I want to still be able to blend where I am. So I'm going to wear something that looks like a regular bug out bag. What's up, Sean? So this is my University of Maryland sports backpack. So it's pretty heavy duty. It blends. It's a standard looking backpack, right? With a sports emblem on it. And if people saw me wearing it, they would just assume, oh, he's just some, maybe alumni or something, and I would probably wear it with this hat with it. So, I would put that on. So I'd be walking around with this with the backpack on, and they'd be like, oh, he's just some guy who's showing school spirit. So that would be the first thing. So again, this is the bug out bag. and I'm gonna empty all the contents. It won't be in any particular order, just to let you know that now. I'm just gonna pull it out as as I do it. What comes first. So first we'll empty what's in the small part of the bag, right? So that's right here. So let's open this up. Got quite a few things. First of all, always have sources of light in your bug out bag. This is a tactical flashlight. So it'll be very high luminosity. It's easy to use. Great to use in the dark if you need to. And you can hit someone with it if you need to use it as a weapon. So that's why tactical flashlights are so good. Okay. What's next? This is a fire starter. Okay. You would rub these together and it will create sparks to start a fire. You should always have multiple sources to create a fire during a bug out location, during bugging out. And I'm going to explain a little bit further. So when we talk about bugging out, we mean you're leaving your home to get to a place of more safety because of whatever is happening where you live. For the most part, that can happen because of wildfires or floods. Those are the most common reasons people might need to bug out from one place to another. Generally, a bug out bag should last you about 72 hours, right? Whereas some people have more extreme bug out bags where they call them inch bags or I'm never coming home again bags. I think those are quite unrealistic. One, they're too bulky to be carrying on you. And two, you should anticipate being able to come back home to something somewhere, not just live indefinitely in the wilderness like you're Johnny Appleseed. So I don't believe in the whole I'm never coming home bags where you're supposed to pack everything, including the kitchen sink, in your bug out bag. It should be light enough that you can carry for long distances. So generally, a good rule of thumb is that the bag should weigh no more than 10% of your body weight. So for me, this is a little bit more than my body weight, but because I'm in good shape, I can handle like 20, over 20, like 20 pounds or so. And when it contains water, it's going to have even more than that, right? But a good rule of thumb is your bug out bag should be 10% of your body weight. And for most people, that should be no more than 25 pounds. No more than that, because these things are going to quickly weigh you down as you walk great distances, because we're assuming that in some bug out scenario, shit hits the fan scenarios, or SHTF scenarios, that you may not be able to go it in a vehicle to where you need to go for safety. So you might have to go it on foot. So anticipate you might have to go it on foot, and you have a smaller size backpack about this size. You can have a bigger bag, but that should be relegated to your vehicle. So again, you're going to want multiple sources of creating a fire if you're going to be outside, say somewhere around 24 to 72 hours. And you may not be in an urban environment, so you might have to start a fire for warmth or to maybe even prepare food. So this is a typical little fire starter. This is an old school military compass. Attached to it, I have an emergency whistle, very loud when you blow this whistle. And I have what's called pacing beads or ranger beads. This can help you, determine how far you're traveling. These are called pacing beads, or sometimes called ranger beads, but rangers don't call them ranger beads. They just call them pacing beads, so that you can track your distance, how far you've been traveling. So these are ranger beads, okay? I've attached this to my compass for obvious reasons, because they all go with like navigational gear. So let me open this up. So this is like the same sort of, this is the same old school compass, you know, I used in the Army. A lensatic compass. Don't mind, I got a little bit of crud on the lens here. But yeah, as you can see, it's an old school lensatic military compass. Here we have just a small reflective mirror. This will have multiple functions. I mean, one, you can just use it, you know, if you need to shave or see yourself in a mirror, but you can also use it to reflect signals, or you can use it as a source to you know, if you need to, for maybe starting the fire, but more than likely you'll use it as a signaling mirror. I'm not showing guns in a live stream, Zachary. That's not going to happen. And guns aren't going to be your primary reason for survival in a bug out scenario. Here we have a all-weather notebook, which it's called an all-weather notebook because you can use it in wet weather. So, okay. Which of course you should also have like mechanical pens to write with. A lot of people in the military prefer using mechanical pens over mechanical pencils over using ink pens. All right. This is a, magnifier. Again, it can be used for signaling or, you know, for other purposes. So here we have, like I said, a small magnifier. My bug out bag is organized. These are in my small component. You organize your bag the way you like. I'll organize the bag the way I like. There's no one way to do a bug out bag. So anyway, here we have a multi-tool. I recommend everyone have a multi-tool, just like I recommend everyone have a compass, an emergency whistle, an all-weather notepad to mark down things for like locations and stuff like that, a signaling mirror, a source of light, and a way to create fires. Trust me, I have more than one way to start a fire. But here's a multi-tool. We had this when we did cable work. So you can use it. So Zachary, no one gives a fuck about guns right now. That's not what we're talking about. A bug out bag isn't about you having some fantasy about going around killing people. That's not what a bug out bag is for. And you keep being a troll, I'm just going to kick you off the platform, because this is not some Walmart low quality gear. And I've just really started the program. So if you want to pay attention and let me go through all of the gear, then you'll see what I have. But if you're just going to act stupid then we're not going to get there, right? Let me go through what I'm going to go through methodically. We're not going to just get to what you want to get to. I'm going to get through everything, all my gear. I'm not talking brands. I'm not getting paid to sponsor brands. I'm not monetized and not sponsored by anyone. So I'm not going to tell people specific brands to use. I'm just going to tell them the generic type of things to use. You're not helping. I'm just going to ignore you from now on. So anyway, so guys, have a multi-tool. Doesn't matter what kind. All right. I have some other things. And again, some things are stuff that you can utilize. Some things are not necessary. Okay, so this is a contentious point amongst some backpackers and survivalists of whether you should have things to maintain your hygiene while in the wilderness. I prefer that I'm going to do that because I know that I'm not going to just be out in the forest. More than likely, most preppers are going to be in the urban environment. Some people have a serious deluded belief that they're going to be out in the woods for like weeks on end. That's not what most bug out situations are like. So yes, I have some hygiene stuff. Yes, you definitely want some sort of sanitizer of some sort. It's very useful. Again, this information I'm getting is from people like David Canterbury, who founded the Pathfinder School. This is not for a bunch of losers who watch too much Rambo. And I have, several viewers watching this. Even if not, this is going to be uploaded later. This is for if I'm in a vehicle. Say, if I'm in a vehicle, I can put this in, get some sleep. But this is not what I would recommend if you're in the field. If you're in the field, you want to be attention at all times. You will not be plugging your ears and not covering your eyes. This is something this is strictly for a vehicle. This is a 4-way opener for like getting towards what source of water, especially if in an urban environment. You might need this to access water. So it's a 4-way opener to get things to get at sources of water, guys. Very, very useful. Not necessary, but very useful. This is just some lip balm. Again, more hygiene stuff. My own little veteran pen, something I like to keep in my bag. Just something personal for me. Zachary is gone. I'm tired of listening to him. More hygiene stuff that goes with this. All right. So we got some hygiene stuff, some navigational stuff, stuff for my four-way key for getting water, multiplier, compass, fire starter, tactical light. Okay, let's keep it going. This is a metal container for water. What's good about this is that it can be heated. So you need to have multiple ways to access water. So one of the things is you might have to encounter some dirty water. And this can be stuck on a fire. So, you remove the top, of course, and you can set this on a fire and you can boil water on it, or you can, heat food in it as well, because this is metal and can be put on fire. Josh, the personal hygiene stuff, Josh, is it's not necessary, but I prefer that I would want to have access to being clean while I'm out in the woods. So that's a personal thing, but I've noticed there's a lot of other survivalists that do bring hygiene products in their bug out bags, right? So let's get to some other stuff, okay? So some fun stuff. This stuff is stuff that I'm about to show right now is stuff that's completely, well, not completely, mostly unnecessary for most folks, but I do like my weapons, which I was going to show Zach, but since he was being a douchebag, I just kicked him off the channel. I don't feel like him talking shit. So we have a a knife, a hawk build knife. So here we go. And like I said, most of the stuff that's in this pouch right here, I call this my little ninja pouch, is very unnecessary things for the most part, but I keep them because they have multiple functions. So not necessarily to use these as weapons, but these can be used for digging and cutting, things like that. So if I need to chop some branches or break up some little things, you might not even believe this is useful. A little sorry, a little shuriken right here. So this I would use not in any sort of weapons capacity, but I would use it to for digging and maybe picking things apart. These, now, if you watch a lot of anime or Naruto, you would think, oh, he has throwing knives. These actually, the original purpose of these were not meant to be throwing knives. These are actually used for digging, especially these are entrenching. These are for entrenching tools. That's what the main purpose of these were for, and for feudal Japanese warriors. And I mean, these are still used today, but they're used. You can also see them being used for people who do planting and stuff like that, digging. And also because of the O-rings, they can be used with tents. So if you need to tie things down, not only can these be used as for entrenching tools, they can be used with your tent to tie them down and stick these into some sort of rough surface or rocky surface. BX7, I'm going to get into all of that. Trust me, I have a lot of gear in this bag, so a lot of stuff to get to. Of course, a little ballast. This will mostly be used as a weapon, but again, ballast songs can also be seen as utility knives. So again, this can be another sort of utility knife that you have on you. Again, all these things in this bag, these little weapons in this part of the bag, are not necessary for prepping or survivalism. These are just things I carry because I can use them in a multifunctional capacity. Okay. This is one of these little BS keychain things, but again, I wouldn't use this as a weapon. This can be used for a weightier purpose, not as a weapon. These are bullshit to be used as a weapon. Well, these are knives that can be used for digging, but again, I have with all due respect, Burns, I have a lot of stuff to get to. Trust me, this is really just the beginning. I haven't even gotten to the heart of the bag yet. I haven't gotten to the inside. This is just the stuff I had in this part and in this part, and then the water container that I had, right here. So brass knuckles, this is intentionally going to be used for a weapon, no other purpose. And a Manriki chain. This would not probably be used for a weapon, but more to use this. I can use this to tie off things or to use as a snare. All right, now let's get into the heart of the bag, because I know everyone's like, why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? I have many of these things, but they are in the heart of the bag. I'm just showing the stuff that's in the side of the bag. These are the hors d'oeuvres. We're about to get into the main dish. All right. And again, for anyone asking, no, I don't keep even if I do have a gun in here, I wouldn't show that on a live stream. That's not smart. That is a good way to get demonetized. I wouldn't show firearms on a live stream, people. So let's keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, let's get into the main part of this. So as you can see, I've already have everything tied up in a sort of a semi-dry bag thing here. Burns, I'm not going to show a gun on here, so be realistic. This is YouTube. I'm not showing a gun. And those things that I just showed you, what you call G.I. Joe weapons, are because most of them aren't going to be used as weapons. They will be used for other purposes than a weapon. Yes, I could get canceled, Raylan. Some of these people are fucking idiots. Like, they're saying, why don't you have a gun? I'm not going to show a fucking gun on a live stream. People are fucking morons. It's not because I'm showing it because you want money. David Canterbury is a army veteran. He has a school of Pathfinder. He doesn't show his guns on his either. Most people wouldn't because they're not stupid. And if Burns can't shut the fuck up, he'll get off this platform as well. So we're gonna go in order of this stuff, okay? So people should have food in their bug out bag. So here's something, Cliff Bars, something every hiker uses is, Cliff Bars. I have a bunch of these in here, right? Hey. So, bunch of little Cliff Bars. Not only that, we have electrolyte. So one of the things, like I said, you're gonna want to find access to water, but that water, even if you purify it, it's gonna taste like shit. So one of the things you can do to make that water not taste like shit is to add these electrolytes to it, right? These are good. Plus, a big thing that may happen when you're in the field is that you will need to replace your electrolytes. So definitely have some of these, and there is some instant coffee in here as well. Stuff that you might find in an Army MRE. So this is something useful. So let me get the rest of those out of here. And with all due respect, I'm not the person you watch, so I don't really give a shit. Go watch that person. So more Cliff Bars. And so some people, they put MREs in their bag. I don't, because again, weight becomes a factor. You don't want to carry too many things on you. Besides that, if you want to have MREs and stuff like that, you can just put that in your bug out vehicle. All right, Burns, you're gone. Get the fuck off my channel. And I have more food, of course, not just the Cliff Bars. But again, I'm not going to keep entire MREs in my bag. If you are going to put MRE stuff in your bag, you should probably break it apart and not put the whole thing in there. Like you can just put the main entree from the MRE in your bag. Might want to, since you're going to be out in the field, if you're someone like me who has hay fever, then might be good to have some allergy pills. I have hay fever, so I keep these in my bag. Dry lint. This is another source for starting a fire. You can easily take dryer lint from your, from your laundry, and pack a little bit in here, and you can use this for fuel for a fire. Very, very useful. Not necessary, but very useful. You always want to have multiple sources of starting a fire, so dryer lint is very useful for that. You always want to have some duct tape. Very, very useful. Have duct tape. You'll need this to. I can't even go over all the multiple reasons you'll need duct tape in a bug out bag. You will use this for so many different reasons. This is a lock picking tool. So again, in the urban environment, you might need to break into certain places for shelter. So not to do bad things with, guys. You don't want a lock picking tool to do bad things. Not to be a criminal. This is for like an emergency. You need to break into somewhere for shelter. So you want to have a lock picking tool. Again, since we're talking about hygiene, 1 bar of soap should last you within a 72-hour capacity. Really, you could probably just break this up in half and just use half of it and it'll be fine. But in case you want to also use it to clean your utensils, not as well as your body, I keep a full bar of soap. Like I said, this should be able to last you a full 72 hours, both to wash your body, and to use to clean off your utensils. Should probably have a sewing kit of some sort in case you need to mend your bag or mend some of your clothing that you're using. So sewing kit becomes very useful. Again, multiple sources of starting the fire. So I have a bunch of matches here because, in case it's taking too long to use this fire starter, in case it takes too long to start a fire, rubbing this together to start to get a spark. Your first source of trying to start a fire is probably just using some matches, guys, as well as having a regular like throwaway big lighter. Matches, a big lighter, probably be what you need to start most fires with. I can't emphasize enough. Have some wool socks. Have at least 1 pair of wool socks. I keep 2 in here, but at least have a pair of wool socks in case your feet get wet. The worst thing you want to be doing is walking through the wilderness with soggy feet. It's very uncomfortable and it can cause you to have problems as you start marching long distances to get wherever you're trying to get to for safety. Have a pair of wool socks, at least 1 pair. But we say 1 is none, 2 is 1. So a good rule of thumb with gear is often 1 is none, 2 is 1. So I would recommend having 2 pairs. Also, I have a skull cap. It may get cold outside. Again, think you may not be in a vehicle. You might have to actually sleep outside. Or you might be in a bug out scenario where it's the middle of winter. So unless you live somewhere like in the Southwest or like California, somewhere warm, you might want to keep some things to keep you warm outside. I'll have more of that in here. Again, more food sources. So some Jack Link's beef jerky, give you some protein. More medicine, so aspirin, because you're probably going to use it. If you're bugging out, it's probably going to be a bad day for you, and you might need aspirins for whatever reason. So just in case, it's better to have it than not to have it. So I hate the hay fever, allergy medicine, aspirin. An emergency radio, guys. This is a crank radio. This requires no batteries. This requires no charging up. You simply crank it. Sorry. You simply take this and see if I can do this while I'm holding this camera. But you'll just crank this several times, right? And gives you an emergency radio, AM, FM. Sorry, see if you can. It also has a flashlight, so another flashlight source.
Today, I believe it is the third Saturday of every month. No, year.
So, emergency flashlight, emergency radio, very good. It's a crank, again, it's a hand crank radio. It does not require an alternate power source. You don't need batteries. It doesn't need to be charged. You crank it by using this hand crank. Okay. Very, very, very useful. All right. And it has, as you can see, a weather band, AM and FM. You want that weather band so you can know what's going on in the field. Little first aid kit kind of goes without saying. You should have a first aid kit of some sort. Should have a map of your location. I live in the Northeast, so I have a map of the Eastern United States. It can get me around generally where I want to be. Okay. So, very useful. You should always have a map, and you should know how to read a map. These are backup batteries for my tactical flashlight. People kept asking me about a knife. Yes, I have a knife. Here's my Bowie knife. It also has a glass breaker on the end. Very useful. So. So I have a dry bag. So you might need to put some of your things in this dry water bag to keep it from getting ruined. So keep a dry bag in there. And, you know, I'm open to comments, guys, but no, I'm not open to trolling and stuff like that. We're not here for that. This is why I was going to do this just as a pre-recorded video, just because I didn't really want to deal with trolls. So here's some playing cards, just maybe for boredom, for the sake of like getting past your boredom if you're stuck doing nothing. Or they're also sources of fuel. You can burn these. Always think everything you have that you're carrying on you should be able to be used for multiple purposes. One of the things that you learn is to get out of the way of, let's say, it's called functional fixing. In psychology, it's called functional fixedness. Functional fixedness is when you can only see one way of doing things, or one purpose for something that you have or do or use. In the military, you want to think of things having multifunctionality. So not only are these playing cards, but they're also sources of fuel. So you should look at it that, are these things, can these things burn? Yeah. So another source of fire. And yes, a dry bag. Most people who go hiking or done things know what a dry bag is. Keep things in here. All right. Let's see. What else I'm gonna get to in here? Oh, obviously this is something you can use for medical purposes and for like injuries, stuff like that. There's a charging cord, of course, because you might want to keep an emergency phone on you, which I will keep in my bug out bag. Again, another charging cord. So this are night binoculars. These can be used to see at night, because I used to use them to look at stars. So very powerful. Can use these at night. These can let you, look around at night, make sure you're not in danger, stuff like that. It can be used at nighttime. Very accurate. And within this bag, I've kept some other things in it as well, which just fell out if I can find them. So I keep some personal items. So in case, I don't know what might happen, so I keep a birth certificate in here. I keep a picture of my wife in case I need to be able to let someone know I'm looking for this person. So I have a picture of my wife and I in here. Again, a birth certificate and social security card. I have a debit card in case I need to access to emergency cash. I will also recommend that people keep like some emergency cash on them. Okay. But yeah, in case I can access some sort of ATM or something, this is in an urban prepping environment, then I can do that. Or if I'm trying to get out of the country or somewhere, or get out of the state and I need transportation, I can use this card that has cash on it to get where I'm going to go, to get to my bug out location. But keep something that can identify yourself and, like, say your wife or your children. Very useful. And I also have a thumb drive. Yes, Batman. But it's a memory drive. I have information about, I have personal identification on this memory drive that I can use, as well as, so I have both a hard copy for identification and a digital copy for personal identification. CJ is called SHTF, shit hits the fan scenario. Jesus says bug out means exactly that, like when in an emergency situation. Like CJ just said, when things go south very quickly. So definitely want some sort of thing to access to be able to see at night, whether it's binoculars or I have a monocular over here, but this isn't part of my bug out bag. This is just something I keep as a backup. But yeah, I also have a monocular here. But whether it's you have a monocular, also called a spyglass, or if you keep some binoculars like here, or some more tactical type stuff, very useful to have. So if you have a smaller bag, you might want to use just a monocular, but if you have a bag with more space, you can keep binoculars in it. What else I have in here, guys? Still a lot to go, actually. I have my Army Soldier's Manual of Common Tasks. So a lot of stuff I may have forgotten, but I have easy access to it in here, so I can remember how to maneuver in the field. Very useful. This is the one I went into basic training and had to learn. Whenever we had downtime, they told us to read our field manual. This was the field manual that we had to read. Also, again, if you need to, you can burn it as fuel if it really comes to it. But I recommend not burning your field manual if you can help it. What we have here are a bunch of candles to be used for starting fires. So again, you want to have multiple ways to start a fire. So here's another way. These little candles can be used for starting fires, guys. Okay. Do I have... I don't have any wet matches, but I think it's a good idea. Paracord, yes sir. I'm getting into all of it. Here is a knife sharpener for my knife and my other blades. In the field, this came with oil, but in the field you don't want to bug yourself down with too much stuff. So I'm not keeping the oil for the knife sharpener. I would just wet it with water instead of using oil. But this is a blade. I mean, sorry, it's a wetting stone. So I'm not carrying oil on me because it's unnecessary. Something unnecessary to keep in this bag. A thing of oil. Plus, I'm thinking, well, what if that oil runs out? Then what? Then I would just resort to water. So that's what I'll just use anyway. I'm gonna use water for this wetting stone to sharpen the knife and other blades that I have. Exactly, CJ. Thank you. I'm glad at least someone appreciates this. Another piece for my charging cord. My other pair of wool socks. Again, 1 is none, 2 is 1. So have 2 pairs. So here's my emergency phone. This can be used, all over the world, because unlike here where you're tethered to a particular telecommunications company, you can just put in a chip for this in any country and it'll work. And because this is basically a burner phone, it can't be tracked. I'll just take the chip, throw it away, put in a new one. It can't be tracked, so it's a good emergency phone to have. And with that, I keep a power source for it. This has enough to charge up a laptop if I need to, but I can just use it for my phone or other devices. But this is strong enough to charge up a laptop if I need. Yes, sir. Tell them the importance of socks. They don't hear me. Those socks become crucial. Some more batteries for my tactical flashlight. Now, there's one thing I didn't get to, and that is shelter. So, presumably, like I said, depending on how drastic the scenario is, you probably will be able to find maybe a hotel, or I mean, like a motel or hotel to sleep in. Or if things are really bad, you can sleep in your vehicle. But if not, you might have to be outside. But you don't want to carry a whole tent inside your bug out bag, like a whole shelter half. But you know what you can do. You can do it the old grunt way. Have something to sleep on, sleep in, and sleep under. And that's where the old-fashioned ranger roll comes. Ranger roll. So this is a poncho wrapped inside of a whoopee. The whoopee is the lining for a poncho. So you can use it like out in the rain. Obviously, you'll wear your poncho to cover up the rain, and you can cover up your bag as well. And you'll have the lining as well, which is sometimes affectionately called the whoopee in the Army and the Marines. But you can also wrap up in this at night. You know, in more mild climates, this should be enough to keep you warm, but also just to keep from having heat conduction with the ground. You can have something like this, some sort of mylar to put on the ground to keep from your body having any sort of conduction with the ground, because that's how you'll lose a lot of body heat, is through conduction with the ground. So you can lay this out on the ground. It's mylar. See? And this will keep your body from conducting heat with the ground. And then you can wrap up in your ranger roll, which I have tied up in this cord. This cord is climbing rope, actually. And I actually have it attached to sorry, a grappling hook. So I have this attached to a grappling hook, which I can use either to set up a shelter. I can tie this between two places, like two trees or something, and set up like a a shelter if I need to. Or I can tie it around. There's enough cordage here that I can use it to tie around someplace for security reasons. And of course, this can be used, in a cinch as a weapon. But this would be used either for maybe some climbing, or like I said, I can tie this cordage between two places and set up like a shelter. And for climbing purposes, I also keep this little piece on it. This is a very heavy duty, so it can withstand a lot of pressure on it. This can hold like, what does it say? I forgot. I can't read it right now, but this can basically hold two people. It's a carabiner, but it's the one-time use carabiners that a lot of mountaineers don't like. Exactly. The backpack is sneaky. The backpack is very sneaky. Like when people look at it, like, oh, they was like, oh, you just got some little cheap school backpack, not realizing how durable this thing really is. But yeah, your ranger roll. And where did I put the little, and my mylar? So something to sleep on, sleep in, sleep under. You might want to, like I said, put the mylar on the ground to keep from conducting heat with the ground. Then you can wrap up in the whoopee, and then you can hang the poncho across this cordage right here. This is tied to lay it to basically run a line across like 2 trees or something like that, and then you can hang the poncho over top of that line to use as a shelter. Here are some tactical gloves, because you're probably going to want to use gloves in the last scenario, either to keep your hands warm or also to keep from your hands being burned or whatever. So you want some sort of gloves. These are tactical gloves because the knuckles are actually, the knuckles of these gloves are actually hardened, so I can actually use them for defensive purposes as well. But I can also use them just to keep my hands warm or to keep from burning my hands when manipulating fire. So tactical gloves. Heavy duty trash bags. So these heavy duty trash bags can again be used to put on the ground to keep from conducting heat with the ground, to keep you from becoming very cold very fast, or you can use it to put obviously to put trash in. Also, you can use it as a shelter in a pinch. You can use these heavy duty trash bags as shelters. This goes with my this actually goes with my binoculars. This shows that the binoculars can be actually used as, you know, for amateur astronomers who want to look at stars, and actually makes very good use for navigation at night, because you can chart your way looking at the different constellations. That's right. That's true. That's true as well, CJ. Thank you. Let's see what else is in here. Another trash bag. Oh, some wipes. You're gonna want to use wipes of some sort, either to wipe, you know, your bottom after you've done your business. And these are fragrance free, because you don't want to have a lot of smells out in the woods that can attract either animals or other people that you may not want to be around. So baby wipes are very good for wiping up things, including yourself. This is a bag cover. You can use this. I don't want to pull it out because I hate folding this back up, but this is a bag cover to put over the book bag, actually, over your backpack. This keeps your backpack from getting wet. This covers that. So not only do I have the poncho to keep my backpack from getting wet, I have this bag cover as well. So this will fit over the backpack itself. Is there anything else in here? Oh, and I forgot this. My emergency saw. So you want this to saw down like small tree parts, branches, things like that. So this is a folding saw, guys. So very useful to have, because you don't want to just rely. You don't want to just rely on your survival knife to cut things down. So I have this emergency saw. And of course, some emergency cord. This isn't the tactical paracord, but this still gets the job done. So like I said, it's not the tactical paracord stuff, but it's just about as effective. You can never have enough cordage. That's another thing. You can never have enough cordage. So I have both that climbing rope and I have this for cordage, because you may need to tie things up to do all sorts of things with, whether you're talking about putting together a makeshift shelter, or tying off a perimeter, or whatever. You want some cordage. Also, you can cut off some cordage to use to burn for fuel as well, for a fire. So again, another fire source is your cordage. So let's see. Something else in here. Oh, this is just for the for my power charger. So we're almost done, guys. I have some more things, of course. So these are some things attached to the inside of the bag. So I have this travel utensils right here. So it's a fork, a spoon, and a knife. Okay. Also have some pepper spray. It's always useful. A Swiss Army knife. It's very useful. It has tweezers in it, a toothpick, tweezers, as well as a blade and a nail file and other pieces for a basic, Swiss Army knife. It's like your standard Swiss Army knife. And this is a laser pointer. Very useful at night. This goes with the binoculars, by the way. P38 or 52. I think this is 52. And and some more carabiners. You should always have a bunch of little carabiners on you guys. Bunch of little carabiners here, and a old school military can opener. This actually came with my fire starter. But as you can see, I have some little extra carabiners here. Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Yeah. So there we go. And I have like some plastic bags in case I need to put stuff in, guys. A mask in case I'm somewhere that I need to, where it might be, bad to breathe in certain contaminants. Have a little bit, have that. This is like a old school razor. I can use this, either to shave or to use this to cut down things. But it's like an old school razor. Some latex gloves in case I need to again handle something, but I don't want to have any chemicals on my hand. Metal straw in case to access water. This is some metal snare wire. I have it wrapped up in more duct tape, but this is snare wire, which can be used either maybe for fishing or again tied around my perimeter as snare wire. But that's what this is. This is just a white handkerchief. This can be used either to wipe up, to be used to clean up things, or I can use it again to cover my mouth, or I can use this to sift out. I can use this as a filter for my water, like when I'm getting water from outside sources. I can first filter it through this handkerchief. This is, put this across my face. This is just a Maryland one, but obviously this will go, across here and cover my mouth stuff. This is an insect repellent brace. This is my Zippo lighter. So again, like I said, a lighter matches a fire starter. You should always have these multiple sources. I don't have the purification tabs, if that's what you mean, CJ, but I do have some other sources for filtering water. I'm going to get to it. But yeah, so Zippo lighter, and it has the part replacement parts in it too, in case I need to replace the parts in the Zippo lighter. This is just some razor blades to go into that old-fashioned razor that I just told you about. So we're not done. So here are some glasses. You see more of a threat, and it can be good, you know, also to protect your eyes, to have, you know, some sunglasses, tactical sunglasses. So these are my little tactical sunglasses. Again, this goes right here on this part of my bag that's attached to a carabiner. Now on the inside, I have a Camelback water filter. So your old-fashioned military Camelback water bladder. And I have a water filter. This would go with this right here. A mini Sawyer water filter. You can attach it to this to get water, but the other thing is you can use this mini Sawyer water filter and actually you can connect it to this. You would connect it right, you know, from here, connect it to this, and use it to filter water through your bladder. Just make sure that afterwards, you know, you clean this out. But you can attach this with an adapter. You can buy the adapters, which I have here in this bag, by the way. I just haven't attached it to this bladder. But with the adapters, you can use that to attach this to this Camelback to filter the water from your bladder itself, instead of, you know, attaching it to this and getting your water that way, which comes, you know, comes with this Sawyer cleaning plunger, and of course the straw, right? But you know, this is part of the adapter I would use to attach it to the Camelback water bladder. Here's the other part. And then the last part is just this. This would be a hip pouch, but I've added it actually to my shoulder strap. It has something that I didn't mention that everyone should have in their bag. How many uses one filter? I'm not sure. It can be used multiple times, but I have to read the specs on how many times it can be used. But everyone should have some sort of tourniquet. Probably should have two, but you should at least have one tourniquet in your bug out bag. So this tourniquet, I had this purposely on the outside of my bag because in case of an injury, you don't want to be trying to, if you are severely injured, you don't want to be trying to go into your bag trying to find your tourniquet. This is a cat tourniquet, basic CAT tourniquet, cat tourniquet. Okay, very easy to apply. I'm not going to open it and put it on my arm and show you how to do that right now, but very easy to apply. You just open it up, turn it, put it on the area that you need to treat, and then you just turn this part right here to keep tightening it. And then I also have another face mask. Like I said, 1 is none, 2 is 1. So this one goes on the outside of my bag in case, again, I don't want to be trying to go into my bag to look for my face mask. I have one right on the outside of my bag that I can instantly access. And this even has like a little filter in here that you can replace. So this has a removable filter on the inside that you can take out and replace. And this is just, your basic hand warmer. Of course, you're gonna have to replace these because these have expiration date. But one thing you should realize is that once you have everything in your bug out bag, that doesn't mean just set it aside and never use it again. You should be monitoring whether the stuff you have are still usable, have expired, need to be replaced. Also, you should probably practice walking around in it to see how it actually feels, because you might actually need to go out in a bug out location and realize, hey, this feels really uncomfortable, or hey, I packed this too heavy. And you can get those little scales to actually weigh your bag, because again, you don't want it to weigh like over 25 pounds. Like, unless you like something like special forces or infantry grunt, maybe you can handle a 30-pound rucksack, but I don't recommend it. It should be no more than 10% of your body weight. So that's going to be under 20 pounds for a lot of people. But yeah, so this is again useful as well, this little warmer. So that is pretty much it, guys. Now I'll take questions. I just wanted to get through all of this just because it was so much. Okay. But yeah, I'll take questions now. I just wasn't trying to deal with a bunch of trolls and stuff like that when I was trying to get through all this information, because there's so much gear I have in this little bag. And like I said, this bag is very misleading because it doesn't look like I have so much in it, but you see all this stuff that's in it. Now I'm gonna have to pack all this stuff back in after the stream is over. But I had all this stuff packed in here. So yeah, I'll take questions now if guys have questions, but that's all the stuff in my bug out bag, guys. Yes, it's my go bag, bug out bag, whatever you choose to call them. I think the main difference between a bug out bag and a go bag is, I think a go bag is supposed to last you about 24 hours. Bug out bag is supposed to last you about 72 hours roughly. And I would recommend, guys, make your own bag. Don't get those pre-made bags that they have at Walmart or on Amazon. Usually those bags are so cheap because they fill it with cheap products. Make your own bag. Go to the sporting goods store, pick out a good backpack. Again, it does not have to look like a tactical backpack with all the MOLLE webbing and all the camouflage on that. You want it to blend in. Like, in most bug out scenarios, you don't want everyone to know that you have a bunch of gear that might be useful to them on you. So, like I said, my first tip would be go to the sporting goods store. You can find good backpacks there, right? Get something that looks like something the average person would carry on them, like the average backpack. Then you want to look at several things you need to look at. You need to look at having things to access water. So like you see my Camelback bladder here that I was showing you guys, or my metal canteen. This is good because this metal canteen can be heated over fire. I'm from Maryland, Serpica. Also, like I said, so you want ways to access water. So I got this bladder here, canteen, and my mini Sawyer water filter. You want ways to start a fire. That means you should have some matches, a lighter, and you can get a Zippo lighter like I do, but most people just get a big lighter. They just get like 2 or 3 big lighters so they can just easily toss them away. All right. Then probably want a fire starter just in case you run out of the matches, get wet, or you didn't buy wet matches, or something happens with your big lighter. You want multiple ways to start a fire, so you can have this little fire starter here too. Y'all funny with the Serpico thing. So I guess some of y'all watched that movie back in the day. Thanks for subscribing, Vor. How much do you go? I try to go live every day now. So we got that covered. So you want multiple ways to access water and to purify that water. You also might want to buy the purification tabs. There's the old school army purification tabs that you can buy. Okay, and even if you do purify that water is going to taste horrible, guys. So you might want to get something to make the water taste better, like what I just showed you with the electrolyte. So these are electrolytes you can put in your water. And I have instant coffee because that caffeine may be the thing that keeps you going. Like in a bug out scenario, it's not going to be a good day. You're probably going to be very exhausted. You might be even wounded. You might have to bug out with family to secure them. So, and like I said, that water that you attain, if it's water you have to attain out the wild, like either from some sort of spigot or whatever, or you have to get that water from a stream, even if you do purify, it's probably going to taste horrible. So these little electrolyte gels will make that more palatable. And again, when thinking about accessing water, especially in a urban environment, you might want that 4-way water key like I showed you guys earlier. So the 4-way water key you can use to access different types of spigots. Also, you want sources of light. So this is my tactical flashlight. I also have batteries for this flashlight. I also have an emergency hand crank radio. It doesn't take a power source. You literally just crank this thing and it turns on. Or so emergency flashlight and radio. This can also access the weather band. So you want multiple sources of light, multiple sources of starting the fire, multiple sources of accessing water. Okay. Next, you need things to navigate. So you're going to want maps of your local area. Okay. This is an old school anesthetic. I also have attached to some I can keep track of my distance with also like an emergency whistle. Also for navigation, I have a signaling mirror. Okay. And a magnifier that can also be used for signaling, or to see things, or to use for possibly starting a fire by reflecting light. And to like note down locations and other important information, I have a all-weather notebook with mechanical pencils. Okay. Also, you're gonna want some sort of medical kit. Like I said, this plus that tourniquet that I just showed you, and a face mask, very useful. Definitely, like I said, you definitely want a tourniquet. At least one, but better to have two. One is none, two is one. So have some sort of tourniquet. There's a basic cat tourniquet with your first aid kit. So you want some sort of first aid. And that goes with the hand sanitizer for the guy that was making fun of that. The hand sanitizer, the alcohol can be very useful. Also, not only can it be used to sanitize, again, it can be used to help start a fire. Alcohol. Multiple functionality. That's the key. Multiple functionality. Again, this dryer lint can be used for fuel for starting a fire. Have some sort of survival blade. This is like a Bowie knife. It also has a glass breaker on it. And I keep a wetting stone to keep that sharp. I'm not going to keep wetting stone oil for it, because in the woods you don't want to have to be relying on having oil on you all the time. You're better off learning how to use water on your wetting stone. You can just sharpen your knife wetting on the stone using water instead of oil. This isn't my bedroom. This is like sort of my man cave. You're going to want food on you to keep you going. Again, more than likely, I mean, this is 2024. You're going to find access to food. Now, some of the hardcore survivalists will want to go hunting and fishing. I don't anticipate having to do that. If I have to, I can, which is why I have snare wire in my bag, which I showed you guys, but keep some sort of snacks on you. So I have Cliff Bars, right? And I have, if I can find it now, some little beef teriyaki links. No, I'm sorry, this is not the teriyaki kind. The teriyaki kind are the tastier ones. This is just the plain original beef jerky. So this is sort of stuff that hikers will have on them anyway. So think of your bug out bag as hiking with extra steps, right? Hiking with the possibility that you have to defend your life or go into hiding from other people. So you want that. You want ways to protect your face. So I have this. This protects both your neck and your face. Some people will get the Muslim what do you call them? Not the sharif. I forgot what you call them, but some people will wear those over their face. Those are fine, but this is just as good as that. In case it's cold weather, again, you might want keep a little skull cap on you. And if things get wet and wild, keep at least one pair of wool socks on you. I recommend two, but some wool socks. More ways to access fire, like with these wax candles. And this can depend on the person, but I would recommend having some sort of personal hygiene on you. So keep a bar of soap. This should last you 72 hours. Plus you can use it to clean off your utensils. All right. And also, like, I keep stuff so I can keep my teeth clean. Personal thing, but I prefer to have clean teeth. In 72 hours, I don't plan on losing teeth, so I'm going to clean my teeth. Unless I'm somewhere where I don't want any sort of fragrance or smell, I'm not going to use this. There are other ways to clean your teeth in the woods without resorting to artificial toothpaste and stuff like that. There are certain things in the wild you can pick up to clean your teeth. But if anticipating that I'm not going to be in that scenario where I'm hiding from other people, I'll just use toothpaste. Yeah, and yeah, it has floss in it. Lady lately 4040. There's a little floss in there, but floss, maybe don't need it, but you should clean your teeth. And like I said, depending on your case of medical situation, you probably want to keep some sort of aspirin on you. I have hay fever, so I'm gonna keep this because I don't know what part of the woods I'm gonna find myself in. So I keep some allergy medicine, or depending on who's with me when I'm out, they might need it too. So think of your family. So my field manual, my basic Army field manual that you are expected to learn back and forth in the Army. So have your Army field manual, or there's other field manuals. I'm keeping the one that I got when I went into basic training. This is not the original one I had in basic training. I bought this one, but because we had like several of them. But this can remind you of different things you need to know while you're out in the wilderness. And in a pinch, it can be used to burn for fuel. Again, multifunctionality is the key, right? Cordage. Always need a lot of cordage. Whether you're talking about the tactical cord, the paracord, or some other type of cordage, something that's strong enough to tie off things, to make a shelter, do other things with. Always want plenty of cordage. You could probably not have enough cordage. Sleeping bag would be too big to put in a backpack. Lady lately 4040. This is for a bug out bag. So I'm in agreement with all that stuff, but that stuff will go in your vehicle. This is stuff that would just be carried on your back. Think about it. I'm guessing you're like probably no more than 130 pounds, right? Your backpack should be no more than 10% of your body weight. Yeah. Say you're like 120 pounds. You don't want a backpack that's more than 12 pounds for you, right? Especially if you're not used to rucking, you never been in the military where you did assault patrols and all that sort of stuff. That's going to weigh you down. You don't want a heavy backpack with a shelter half on it and a sleeping bag. You're going to keep that in your vehicle. You don't want that on your backpack. Okay. What else? Also, when it comes to hygiene, baby wipes. Again, I'm not trying to be all yuck in the woods. Okay, so if you don't have baby wipes, you can access leaves and rocks and stuff like that. But I'm going to use baby wipes. Plus, I can use this to clean off my other materials that I have with me, as well as myself. So baby wipes, and again, these are the fragrance-free kind. So I'm not trying to leave a scent that will attract animals or attract unwanted people. You cannot have enough duct tape. You cannot have enough duct tape. You cannot have enough duct tape. Duct tape. Duct tape. Duct tape. Have duct tape. The military has their own kind, but it's basically just duct tape that's green. It's the same thing, but it's duct tape. I have a handsaw, so this folds up. Let's see if I can. So this folds up. Fits right in your backpack comfortably. I don't know what you say. I was saying this sounds weird. Again, you want your personal identification things. So in this, I have a birth certificate, so security card for identification purposes. I have an emergency debit card that has cash on it, so if I need to rent a hotel room or something, get the hell out of Dodge I need to book a flight, I need to book a train, whatever, I can use that. Plus, you should have some emergency cash on you. At least some people might say at least like $20 or so. I would say a good rule of thumb is $100. $100 can get you pretty much anywhere across the world. I mean, you can use it anywhere in the world. They'll recognize a $100 American bill. So at least $100. Some people might also want to have some precious metal coins, so gold or gold and silver. You can use that to barter in a pinch as well. So maybe look into keeping precious metals as far as gold or silver coins, not bars. Bars are not the bars are too bulky and are harder to use for exchanging things. But the coins would be better for like exchanging for different sorts of things. You want something to be able to look at night. So again, I have these binoculars. But if you have a smaller bag, like a go bag, as I was saying before, you might just want to use these binoculars or spyglass that I have also here. Spyglass. This doesn't go in my bug out bag. This is something I keep for other purposes. But if you don't have enough room for binoculars, then you can get this little monocular. Cool thing with this is you can also attach your phone to it as well to look at things and record them. But that goes back to the whole navigation thing as well. Have a dry bag. So dry bag, you can put your things in case you want to, certain things you don't want to get ruined. I have a bag cover that goes over my entire backpack, so I can keep things dry. Speaking of keeping things dry, I have these heavy-duty trash bags that can be used for multiple purposes. It can be used as a shelter, or it can be used to keep from conducting heat with the ground. All right. And speaking of that gets to my shelter stuff. So my Ranger roll, a Ranger roll, it has my whoopee, which is the poncho lining with a poncho wrapped up inside of it, and it's held together by this cordage, which is attached to a climbing rope with a grappling hook. And along with that Ranger roll, I have this Mylar, this little Mylar bag, which I can either use to, if it's colder, if it's really cold, then I can wrap up in that poncho and the poncho lining, the Ranger roll, and then put this over it to make it even more warmer. Or I can just put this on the ground to keep from conducting heat to the ground with my body, because you'll lose a lot of body heat with conduction to the ground. So you want something between you and the ground. Or it can be used as a shelter in a pinch as well. So, and I have some tactical gloves. This will keep my hands warm, or I can use it while cooking or manipulating the fire without burning my hands. And it has hardened knuckles in case I get into some altercation, so I can wear these as an offensive weapon. multiple functionality, guys. So yeah, that's about it. I've showed pretty much everything else. Like, I have some plastic bags in case I need to put stuff in them. I have an emergency cell phone as a burner. I just put a chip in and then take the chip out. And with that, I have a power charger, which is, this can charge up in a laptop if I need to charge up a laptop. And I have charging cords to go with them, with that and with the phone. And as I was saying, with the having my identification stuff, I have a thumb drive that also has all my identification on it as well. So I have both a digital source of my identification as well as a hard copy of my identification, which also includes pictures of me and my wife and stuff. So in case I get separated for her from any sort of reason, I can show that picture to someone and say, have you seen this person? I'm looking for her. What's up, BSK? And I showed you guys everything else, like the little weapons that I keep, which aren't really for weapons. I keep them for like digging and other sorts of purposes. So again, multiple functionality. Snare wire in case I need to. I can use this for fishing. I can use it to set up. I can use it as trip wire for my perimeter. All sorts of stuff. I think I showed you guys my lock picking set. Again, this is not for criminal purposes. This is for like an emergency, like you need to get into shelter. So you want to have this for in case you need to break into something for the purpose of like shelter or safety, not for like just, this is not to break into people's places to steal things or rob them or anything like that. This is merely for like safe, for the purposes of shelter and security. The Zippo lighter, I don't remember how much it costs, BSK. I got it. I can't remember if I got it from I don't know, maybe a convenience store or somewhere. And in case you guys forgot about the bag, again, all this stuff goes into this little bag here, this little deceptive bag. It looks like a regular little school backpack. So all this stuff went in there, guys. It's all secreted into there securely. And I think it altogether may weigh about 20 something pounds. I can handle that because I stay in shape to be able to have all of that. So whether I'm going to be in an urban environment or I'm going to be in the wilderness, I think I'm pretty much well covered. Again, for people who are questioning about guns, again, I think for me, just a basic Glock 19 will do the purpose, but I'm not going to show any firearms on a live stream, on a YouTube live stream, because you will get demonetized. I think some people didn't understand that early on in the stream. They were saying, oh, you're just scared of the YouTube rules. Yes, I am scared of the YouTube rules because I plan on using this channel to be monetized. So why would I break the rules of the people who are providing this platform just to amuse one person? That doesn't make sense. Some people are not very bright, and that's okay, because I think I'll probably ban this person off the channel anyway. So that was my bug out bag. If you guys want to see this in entirety, I'm going to be uploading this so you can see it. I see everything I just pulled out of my bag. I literally pulled everything out of the bag to show you guys, as I promised I would do long time ago. And today was it. So I ended up showing everything. in case anyone missed anything, you can ask me questions, but that's again, that's it. What's up, Alex? Hog says urban survival gear. Not urban survival gear. It's a bug out bag. I recommend everyone have a bug out bag. So does FEMA. FEMA recommends everyone have some sort of bug out bag in case of SHTF scenarios. Shit hits the fan scenarios. SHTF. Most SHTF scenarios that FEMA says people need to be prepared for are flooding or wildfires, which affect many places across the country. We've seen it from Texas to Hawaii to California to all the way up in Maine. Lots of that stuff can happen. So recommend everyone have some sort of bug out bag or go bag. The difference between a go bag and bug out bag is generally a go bag is a little bit smaller. It's usually something that should last you about 24 hours. A bug out bag should last you 72 hours or 3 days to get you from wherever you're leaving from to a bug out location. And more than likely you'll have a vehicle for that purpose, or a bug out vehicle. But just in case you have to go it on foot, then that's your purpose of your bug out bag. Everything you need to go out on foot and navigate to a place of relative safety compared to I don't know what that one guy is talking about, Garage Jack 999. So I'm gonna go in a few. I'm gonna put this bag back together. It's gonna take me a while, so I'll probably be looking at Netflix and Disney Plus while I'm doing that, while I'm putting this bag slowly back together, because there's a lot to put in this bag. Because as you can see, it was a lot, guys. It was a lot. People didn't think all that stuff was probably in that bag, but a lot of stuff. Go bag should be airliner safe. I don't. My bug out bag is to get me to the airport, not to be on the on the flight with me. That's I don't know what you mean, but I mean, for the most part, it is safe. Like if I checked it in, with my luggage, it'll be good to go, as long as it doesn't have a firearm in it. That's why I'm not buying firearms until I move, because there's no point in me collecting firearms and then I have to leave them all behind here when I move. The only thing I'm getting here is my Glock 19, which will be used to store in my bug out bag. And the last thing I would recommend for bugging out is a passport. This is securely put into a Ziploc bag to make sure that my passport doesn't get ruined somehow through something being porn on it or whatever. And it also have a passport case, so it makes it deceptively look like a wallet. That way people wouldn't know to steal it. But I've shown this before, but there's a little passport case here. You can put money and other sort of stuff right here where I put the actual passport. So if you're really serious about bugging out, you should probably also have a passport and some sort of identification. Like, of course, I'm gonna have my wallet and stuff on me, but my emergency stuff that I showed you guys with my birth certificate and social security card and all that stuff, and a flash drive will have all my other sorts of ID on it. So yeah, so that is it. That is all. I don't know if anyone had any other questions, but that covers it. By the way, I really like this two-way radio, guys. This is really cool. Like I said, it's a flashlight. It's an emergency flashlight, an emergency radio, and it's a power charger. I forgot to mention that. You can open this, and you can charge your cell phone with it. So if there were any other things I would add to this bag, which probably not because it wouldn't fit, but it would be one, my Glock 19 that would go in here, and two, a satellite phone or two-way or some sort of two-way radio. So for me and my wife, she would have one and I would have the other. But I would keep like either a two-way radio or a satellite phone. That would be the only other thing I would add to this. Anything else would go into a bigger bag that would go into my vehicle. Like this is not the only stuff I would have for survivalism or prepping. This is just all the stuff that would go into my bug out bag. Everything else would go into a vehicle inside a bigger bag. I would probably keep a traditional army rucksack in my vehicle and put all my other stuff that it can't go in my bug out bag. So I would have my shelter half, I would have a sleeping tent, right? I would have my MREs, I would have a rifle, I would have extra magazines with ammunition in those, right? Probably extra pair of boots, that a field jacket, those sorts of things. Those will all go in the vehicle. Those are all important things. People have brought that up during the stream. Those are important, but those aren't going to be things that's going to go in my bug out bag. The bug out bag should be minimal. You should think minimalism when you're thinking of a go bag or a bug out bag. You should not be thinking I'm gonna put every single thing that I could possibly need in that one bag, because it's just not practical and it would be too heavy. Like a lot of people think it's a good idea until they get up to 1 or 2 miles on foot and realize how heavy it is, and they're going to start having to dump gear to get, so that they can travel on foot. You don't want to dump gear. Like I said, anything that can't go with you on foot needs to stay in a vehicle. So you need to think of minimalism when you're using a bug out bag. And I also, like someone else was mentioning, I had to ban a few people because they were being trolls. But I'm not going to recommend any particular brands because, one, I'm not monetized, and two, none of these folks are sponsoring me to give their brand names. I'm not going to offer any brand names. I'm just going to give you general guidelines of stuff that you should get. I'm not going to say that you need to get, brand X for it, right? Like the Zippo lighter, I say Zippo, but I'm saying Zippo in a generic way, like for any sort of reusable lighter, as opposed to like a Bic lighter, which is also a brand name, but can basically use to stand in for any sort of disposable lighter. So when I say Zippo, I don't necessarily mean Zippo itself. I just mean a reusable lighter as opposed to a Bic lighter or a disposable lighter. So I'm not favoring any brands unless I'm sponsored. So that's all I have to say about that. Any questions, comments, queries, objections, claims? If not, I will call this a day and upload this so that people can watch this whole thing in its entirety, if they didn't see it earlier. But again, I appreciate everyone checking this out. If you're new to the channel, please like the video, please hit subscribe, please share, hit notifications. It helps me grow this channel. It helps me monetize this, because once I get monetized, I can start doing other things. So that's it. I promised I was gonna show my bug out bag, and I keep my word. So the only things I still promise you guys that I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing interviews with some ladies overseas in the future. and I still have to do a Muay Thai workout, which I had promised a year ago. I still have those things coming, but this shows that I do what I promised, because I promised to do a thing about my bug out bag many months ago. So this was it, and some of you and my wife both said do it as a live stream. Don't do it as a pre-recorded video. So that's what I did. But again, if you have any more questions about bug out bags, survivalism, prepping, backpacking, hiking, you can leave it in the comment section when I upload this video. And for folks who want information from people who are much more knowledgeable about survivalism and stuff than I am, you can go to like David Canterbury's YouTube channel. He founded the school of the Pathfinder School, which teaches people survivalism skills, prepping, um, all sorts of outdoors skills that men should know that we've probably lost in this day and age. He teaches us those sorts of things. He's also an Army veteran. Um, there's a bunch of channels like his, but many of them actually were trained under the Pathfinder School from David Canterbury. So why not just go to the source himself, David Canterbury? But a lot of the folks out there also teach similar stuff to him, who actually went to his Pathfinder School. So David Canterbury is a good channel to check out to get way more in-depth information. This was just my solo amateurish run at this. But for a professional, he's the guy. He's the man. So thank you guys. I don't see any other comments. So I'm gonna end this now. I appreciate it a lot.